Greetings, Craddock here. Continuing to iterate on our Firebird 6-piece combustion speed build. Here's the next iteration. So was tinkering. Our previous iteration, of course, was the Augmented version with the Echoing Fury in the cube, which is still a good build, still works rather well. But per some suggestions from some of our viewers, thank you by the way, tested out Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, and this actually works really well. And I actually looked over it because usually Convention of Elements will overtake Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac in most every build, but I forgot that this this new set base mechanic is proc based, right? So the more procs you get, the more damage you do, and the Obsidian actually edges out Convention of Elements for this reason. When you combine it with Explosive Blast, hitting enemies and applying that 6-piece bonus damage more often, right? So what we're doing here is we're taking a combined approach. Is we're going to hybridize our build a little bit to both deal damage with Arcane Torrent and also with Explosive Blast. This is really cool because it lets you focus down those elites, but also, like if you see like a really dense area of the rift, you can just hop in the middle of all that trash and blow them up quickly with the Explosive Blast and then move on, right? So super cool, keeping the furnace for that elite focus, mainly also keeping the furnace over, say, opting for an Echoing Fury or something like that, other than furnace in the cube, because furnace also helps out significantly with the Rift Guardian. And as you push higher and higher in your greater rift speeds, you'll really notice a difference in clear time by including this just from killing the Rift Guardian faster. And it's true, you could get like a really nice power pylon or something, some sort of pylon to help you out with the RG. A lot of the time that does happen, but when it doesn't, you really notice it. And so this is going to, keeping this is going to be help you out in a big way. Now, moving through the rift, mobility is also going to be key here because we have a little bit higher cooldown. By the way, we are slotting cooldown on the diamond and the helmet, so we swapped that out for diamond, and then we're keeping the Go swiftness, of course. We have the 8% that comes on the obsidian. We have the 10% from the Enchantress, which I will simulate now by putting it on the weapon. Usually you wouldn't put this on the weapon. I just want to show you about how much you would actually have. Close to 55%, a little over 55%, which would get you a cooldown on Explosive Blast of about 2.66. Now remember, Obsidian is going to reduce it quite often because you have such high attack speed. It will be proccing more often and reducing this by 1 second at an even faster pace. So this is another reason why we want to keep our attack speed in the build as well and make sure that we hit that breakpoint. That's 7.5 ticks per second, 8 frames per tick, I believe it is. Breakpoint for Arcane Torrent is hugely beneficial here. You're going to want to keep attack speed on the weapon, both rings, and the gloves. And combine that with the Go swiftness, that will let you hit that really nice breakpoint for optimizing here. The cooldown helps out tremendously for getting through the rift, so you don't have to have as many combustion stacks to actually start teleporting and moving through the rift. With the higher cooldown, you're able to hit the GCD much quicker and retain that instant teleport much longer. So it's much more fluid, allows you to clear quicker through the rift, and overall I think it's a slightly better build. So a few things that we had before that you're going to kind of have to make up for because we're trading off the amulet. You're going to have to focus a little bit more on toughness in Paragon especially, so investing a little bit more vitality or gems as vitality is going to be very important to help maintain your 1.5 is kind of what I recommend to shoot for, 1.4 to 1.5 million. Health pool, as mentioned before, armor rolls are going to be very important. Life percent on the chest piece, because we don't have it on the helm, is going to be more important than it was before. So that's just something to keep in mind. And also, you know, vite rolls, helm, source, etc. One other mention, we're getting a lot of toughness from energy armor, unwavering will, and of course the Taeguk. I tried to trade off the energy armor, and I started breaking squirts quite often, so I tested out Black Hole, I tested out, you know, the Ransler's Volley with the the twister, you know, the pixel pull bracers, which was actually really fun to play, but it was just too involved, and Combustion stack suffered because of the extra spell that you placed as well. So on top of losing squirts, you know, more often, you would have to contend with more time required for each pull to, you know, kind of work, right? So anyways, the cool thing with this build, though, is because the bracer slot is freed up, we get the Crumb's buff bracers, making us immune to knockback and stun effects, which is really cool. It keeps you from having to reposition more often in the Rift. You are still susceptible to things like Wormhole and Nightmarish and, you know, things like that. Frozen, you can still get frozen, but this helps remove a lot of that annoyance as you're going through the Rift and just getting knocked back, right? So really, really cool. Even more close-up build than before, I would say. Whereas with the Echoing Fury Augheld's variation, you could hop out at range into an Oculus Ring and play that way. This build, I would shy away from that a little bit more. It's more advantageous to be up close because so much of your investment is into the Explosive Blast as well. So, and plus, you know, when you're up close, even if you don't get lucky with those Oculus Ring spawns quite as often, you still gain the Audacity and Trap bonuses rather easily when you're more up close and personal, right? So notably, I did not opt for CDR on the shoulder piece because resource is so paramount with this build. Just quick to note that you're at such high attack speeds and you're spamming EB so much more often that just making sure that you can replenish your Arcane Power Pool with APOC is so much better. Also forgot to mention Evocation replacing the Conflagration in the build so that we can get that extra cooldown as well here. So, yep. Really cool build. Super excited to continue playing this and pushing it. I expect I could. I cleared 115 in 3 minutes on one of my fished rifts. Most clears were between 3.5 and 5 minutes, though, 5 minutes being the worst I saw. So that'll give you an idea of how this will perform when you're at about 18k int. You know, in season you might be, you know, 1.5k paragon with augments or something like that, right? I think it can push a little bit higher, so I might increase the range, the recommended range just slightly, but and continue testing. But overall, I'm very happy where this is landing. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and take care.